All right, let's toss out the modern map for just a second and take a journey through some deep, layered history. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating global phenomenon. We're looking at major, currently existing cities that were shaped by centuries of Turkic-led administration. We're going to count down the top 10 cities with the absolute longest durations of this specific type of historical governance, looking strictly at the historical data. So get ready, because we are covering a whole lot of ground today. So think about this for a second. What do Cairo in Egypt, Delhi in India, and Istanbul in Turkey actually have in common? I mean, if you just glance at a map today, they're vastly different, globally important capitals that belong to entirely different cultural spheres, right? Arab, South Asian, Turkish. But historically, they share a profound, unifying thread that's kind of hiding in plain sight.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because to really understand that thread, we've got to redefine a pretty crucial word. When we say Turkic, we are definitely not just talking about modern Turkey. The historical category is so much broader than that. It includes the Oghuz and Seljuk Turks, for sure, but also the Mamluk military elites of Egypt, the Timurid and Mughal rulers of India, the Uzbeks of Central Asia, and the Golden Horde. It was this incredible administrative network stretching all the way from Eastern Europe to South Asia.
So the crucial point to understand here is that hundreds of years of Turkic rule absolutely does not mean demographic replacement or cultural erasure. Far from it, actually. These durations represent an administrative, military, and dynastic overlay. Think of it like a massive governing umbrella. Underneath that umbrella, local civil, religious, linguistic, and commercial life just kept on thriving. Arab, Persian, Greek, Slavic, Indic, Armenian, Kurdish, all of these traditions flourished right alongside their Turkic-led administrators.
Now, before we kick off the actual countdown, let's set some quick ground rules based on our source data. A single duration number can honestly be a bit misleading if we don't separate out the types of rule. We have direct imperial rule, where a city is fully part of a central state, like a capital. Then there's military caste rule, which is a bit different, often featuring these complex slave-soldier structures. And we also have suzerainty, which is basically a tributary relationship, where local rulers stay put but pay up to a Turco-Mongol overlord. For our top 10 today, we're zooming in on the strongest, most direct administrative overlays.
Global capitals, 10 through 6.
Coming in at number 10 is Istanbul, that vital, iconic bridge between Europe and Asia. It experienced roughly 469 years of direct imperial rule as the capital of the Ottoman Empire, right up until 1922. But check out number 9, Delhi, an absolute historic powerhouse of the Indian subcontinent, clocks in with approximately 600 years of Turkic-led dynastic and imperial rule. This wasn't just one big continuous empire, though.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the system worked. Delhi's 600-year history is like a fascinating, segmented puzzle. You've got the early Turkic Delhi Sultanate kicking things off around 1206, driven by dynasties like the Mamluks, Khaljis, and Tughlaqs. Then, jumping to 1526, the Mughal Empire begins. It was founded by Babur, a Turco-Mongol ruler who traced his lineage straight back to Central Asia. And that dynastic presence, it only wrapped up in 1857.
Moving our way up the list to the historic center of the Islamic Golden Age, number 8 is Baghdad in modern Iraq, pulling in roughly 650 to 700 years of rule. And sitting right at number 7 is the ancient jewel of the Nile, Cairo, Egypt, with an astounding 700 to 735 years. Both of these are just massive administrative legacies, but they function in totally different ways.
Baghdad is practically a masterclass in segmented history, passing through these distinct administrative layers over time. First you have the Seljuks, then later Turkmen confederations like the Karakoyunlu and Akkoyunlu, and finally long stretches of Ottoman administration, which were occasionally contested by Turco-Mongol and Safavid layers. It was constantly viewed as the ultimate strategic prize.
Now, Cairo represents a uniquely fascinating category: military caste rule. Yes, there were those early Turkic layers, like the Tulunids, but the real meat of this duration belongs to the Mamluks. From 1250 to 1517, Cairo was the center of this mighty sultanate, ruled entirely by an elite, primarily Turkic, slave soldier caste. And that whole system was followed by over 400 years of Ottoman administration. Just wild to think about. Wrapping up the first half of our countdown at number 6 is Damascus in modern Syria, an ancient commercial hub of the Levant. This city represents about 750 years of nearly continuous direct governance. We're talking a timeline stretching all the way from the early Seljuk and Atabeq periods, right straight through the Mamluk era and deep into the Ottoman period ending in 1918.
Deep Heartlands, 5 through 2.
Let's move to the top 5 and see how this builds. Entering our top 5, we have Tashkent in modern Uzbekistan, this incredibly vital Silk Road oasis boasting 750 to 850 years. At number 4 is Diyarbakir, a critical fortress city in modern Turkey with roughly 800 to 820 years. Both of these cities represent incredibly complex intersections. Tashkent layered Karakanid, Chagatai, Timurid, and Uzbek rulers, while Diyarbakir layered Artikid, Akkoyunlu, and Ottoman administration.
800 plus years. I really just want this number to sink in for a second. We are talking about 8 centuries of continuous, or at least near-continuous, administrative tradition. That is the staggering scale of time we're dealing with as we enter our top 3.
At number 3 is the legendary city of Samarkand in Uzbekistan, with roughly 800 to 870 years. And coming in hot at number 2 is Konya in Turkey, with roughly 830 to 845 years. You have to understand, these weren't just remote provincial outposts. These are 2 of the most emblematic capital cities in all of world history. Samarkand was the glittering, direct imperial capital of the Timurid Empire, and Konya, it was the absolute quintessential capital of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum, completely forming the bedrock of Anatolia's direct rule cluster.
Number 1. Historic Bukhara.
We have officially crossed the incredible 9th-century mark. Over 900 years of Turkic-led rule. Just absolutely incredible.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer timeline. The number 1 city is Bukhara, located in modern Uzbekistan. The timeline here is just breathtaking. From the year 999 all the way to 1920, a legendary center of Islamic learning and trade, Bukhara experienced a ridiculously durable, segmented run of direct capital rule. It started with the Karakanids, moved through the Chagatai and Timurid periods, and eventually stabilized under the Uzbek Khanates and Emirates, like the Shaybanids and Manhids. It really is the ultimate anchor of the Central Asian historical cluster.
The synthesis. Why was this so widespread?
So what does this all mean? How did this specific type of administrative phenomenon cover so much of the globe? Well, the historical record provides a pretty clear synthesis. As the source outlines, the longest and most clearly documented city clusters appear in Central Asia and Anatolia, followed by the Mamluk Ottoman Middle East, South Asia under the Turkic Delhi Sultanate dynasties and the Mughal state. Basically, the geographic legacy is heavily clustered right around these super durable, ancient urban centers.
And the real reason for this incredible spread? It was adaptability. The source notes a substantial Turkicization of ruling and military structures all across Eurasia, whether they were Turco-Mongol conquerors, slave soldier Mamluks, or the vast provincial governors of the Ottomans. These military elites adapted to their local environments. They built a durable layer of governance that could effortlessly integrate local Persian scribes, Arab religious scholars, or Indian merchants. That adaptability is exactly what made the rule so incredibly long-lasting.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to ponder today. The modern borders on our maps right now, they're really just the newest layer of a very, very old painting. So the next time you visit a historic city, whether it's Delhi, Cairo, or Istanbul, will you look past those modern borders and see the deep, centuries-old administrative overlays hiding in plain sight? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep exploring the layers of the past.